All right. Got some great information on the California real estate market. So you want to tune in. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to notify you when the next video, when the next time we record a live video, you'll be notified about this. And I've got some great information about the real estate market. So stay tuned. I think a lot of times people wonder when's the right time to buy. And that's really what we're going to be talking about. Is now a good time to buy, right? So if you're a buyer, kind of sitting on the fence, wondering, hey, should I pull the trigger and make this thing happen, go all in? And I've got some really good information about where the market is at and where it's going. And I believe that a lot of this stuff, a lot of decisions are being made on interest rates, right? Versus renting or owning. And also maybe even considering the forecast or even how long you plan on living in the home, right? So we've seen rates drop down over the last couple of weeks, and then we see them inch back up. And there's no prediction with interest rates on where they're currently at. You know, I've been in the business for 20 years, 2 decades. Could you imagine 2 decades? I've been involved with thousands of transactions, and no one that I've met has a crystal ball where rates are going. We have all these economists out in the marketplace that we listen to. Just a few months ago, I attended a conference, and we had some great leadership in the room talking about where interest rates are at and where they're going and why they're currently, where they're at. And it all sounds great, but yet they will also let us know that there's no guarantee where rates are going to go, right? Because there's too many other factors that come up with interest rates, right? One, you got the feds involved, right? They have influence on interest rates. But how about employment? Employment of what's happening in the employment sector, or maybe world events, right? World events have an impact on what's going on with the economy. So interest rates are really essentially, if you just break it down to the basics, are driven by the economy. So it's so hard to predict where the economy is going. And that's why, even myself, I watched the 10-year treasury, the 10-year treasury bill. And I can really figure out on a day-to-day if rates are going to inch up today because it trails that. But no one can predict over the long term, over the next 3-6 months, or even longer than that, where rates are going to be at. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago, they thought rates were going to really, come down. We're going to see a decrease in interest rates. But the opposite happened. Within 30 days, we saw rates go from 3-4% to 7%, 8%. It was the fastest increase in probably in the history of the United States. At least I've been doing this for 2 decades. So it's a fast increase that we've never seen before of rates going up. And no one anticipated that. So if you're thinking about buying a home, I think we need to think beyond where interest rates are at, because you can read more about this on the blog. And there's a link in the description where you can read more about that. Because interest rates, are so volatile, right? Even though the, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which is the largest companies on Wall Street that buys these mortgage-backed securities for conventional loans, right? All they do is purchase conventional loans. This is not what they don't purchase FHA loans or non-qualified mortgage loans. It's just the conventional loans. But conventional lending really sets the benchmark on interest rates, right? So they are anticipating that the rates kind of come down in the next few months. But again, I've seen the opposite happen. And so we just really never know where rates are going to be at, because if you ask Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they're saying it's going to decline over the next couple of months, or even over the next 12 to 18 months. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I want you to ask yourself. Are you buying the house for long term? Number one, are you going to be buying this home for long term? Meaning, are you going to marry the house? Because if you're going to marry the house, this is a long-term investment, then what you want to think about just dating the rate, because in other words, you can secure the home today that you love, right? And then refinance later when rates drop, right? So waiting for the perfect rate often costs the buyers more in home appreciation than they will ever save in interest rates. Think about that. The amount of money it's going to cost them is going to be far greater than what they're trying to do as far as save money on interest rates. I've seen this happen over and over again. So as long as the home price and the home fits your budget today, maybe this is where sometimes we got to be a little bit more flexible, especially buying our first home. Or, I always say, hey, this might be just a starter home into something bigger, or the dream home that you're looking for. Like, I'll give you an example. When I first bought my condo, it was a very starter type condo. And it's all relative to where prices are at, because that condo today is worth, I don't know, over $500,000. But when I purchased it, it was about 116,000. And over 6 months, it appreciated to about 180,000. Sold it though. I wish I would have kept it, right? But I sold it, and that led on to future investments as well, right? And that really was the turning point of what started myself investing into real estate. Even though I lived there, it was still an investment. So I look at buying homes as an investment, right? We're investing into our future by buying real estate or buying your home. So it's more than a home. It's your investments, your long-term ways to create wealth. And that's, I think, is more important than interest rates, because the wealth that we create off buying something is far greater than creating the wealth for the landlord, right? Meaning, if you're renting today, the only wealth that you're creating is for the landlord, right? So the landlord's getting wealthy, meaning the moment you make that payment or rent, what's happening to the landlord is their principal balance on that mortgage loan is decreasing every single month, while the equity is increasing. Now, if the property values also increase, because in California, we're still seeing right around 4 to 6% annually. So every year that property is increasing, 4 to 6%, and that means it's going higher while the principal balance is decreasing. And that difference is the equity, right? And over time, that equity can get just bigger. It's going to increase. And the last time I looked at these numbers right here in Orange County, roughly 30%, just imagine 30% of all the homes in Orange County are paid off. So we're talking billions of dollars that have paid off, that there's the largest equity transfer right now. Where is all this equity going? Well, somebody made the wise decision years ago to buy this home and to hold on to it and then to pay it off, because they want to transfer that property usually to somebody in the family, right? And that's the transfer wealth. We're seeing the largest wealth transfer because we're talking billions of dollars that are owned free and clear, and these properties are being transferred. So the people that bought these homes, these homeowners, purchased these homes years ago, right? So this is something that they invested, they saw the long-term vision in their family, they had a long-term goal, and they took action on it. And, a lot of times it does come with what feels like a sacrifice, but in reality, whenever you're investing into your family or long-term like that, it's really not a sacrifice at all. Like, it would be a sacrifice staying, renting a home, right? So I encourage you, if you want to go over like prices, monthly payments, go over all the cash to close, give me a call at the office. We can talk about all that. We can help build a very clear mortgage plan for you. So that way, when you have enough knowledge and you're ready, or when that perfect home hits the market that fits your budget, the location, you won't miss out on that opportunity, because there's no guarantee when you're going to come across a property like that again. So if you want to build a clear mortgage plan, I think this is a great stepping stone. Or maybe you have already talked about monthly payments. And sometimes I talk to clients, they're like, I already been approved. And then I ask them the question, did they go over the closing cost? I'm like, they didn't do that. Okay, well, we're going to do that, right? Wouldn't you want to know the closing costs, the down payment options, right? Wouldn't you want to know that there's ways to turn your financed offer into you becoming a cash buyer, so you can compete with cash buyers and close within 14 days? If you would like to do something like that, just give us a call at the office. Phone number is 866-587-6927. And also you can see us, check us out on the web at freedomchoicelending.com. And again, my name is David Delgado, President and CEO of Freedom Choice Lending. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.